Oh, hey, trying something different this week. Everybody. Oh, my phone crapped out. So I'm trying this. I'm using my laptop this week. And I've got my video editor. I'm going to try something new. Leslie here, Leslie Plazz, my friend Zazoo Plazz, here for my weekly report. Moving up in the world. I'm trying some new stuff. My phone just it, it's not it can't hold me anymore. It said I was just talking for 2 minutes and it said limit reached. So this has been coming for a while. I said this is great. Now I don't have to deal with uploading from my phone. I've got it all on my laptop. So I think this is good. I'm stepping up. Which leads me to my topic this week. See, where I'm going, I can't mess around anymore. I can't deviate. I have to get right to the point. Apparently, this is what the universe is telling me. Because I used to kind of, well, I'm still rambling a little bit. But anyway, Zazoo Plazz report, July 14th, 2024. Oh, there's a lot. I got my origami birds on today. Like my old roommate, she's Japanese American. She used to make these little birds with paper. She was so good at it. I'm not as good at it. Maybe if I worked on it a little bit, but I'm a little impatient with paper. I still haven't finished that Disney scrapbook from 2007. My former spouse is like, I just left it at his house. I said, I've given up hope of finishing it. The kids are like, it was 17 years ago. Am I ever going to finish the Disney scrapbook is the question. That's the question for the ages. But maybe. I'm always hopeful. I have all my pictures in a bin. Some of them are in a bin that I printed out to put in the scrapbook. It's 3/4 done. I mean, I did a nice job, but I didn't quite finish. Which isn't that kind of like life? We're on this journey of life. Life is like, we're all on a journey, aren't we? We're not home. We're away from home. So when you go on a vacation, you go away from home, away from home. And the readings for this week is the Gospel of Mark, chapter 6. I'm going to start with this because it all ties together. People taking nice vacations, and I might take one this summer. I can't tell yet. It's. I need to maybe get into August before I can think about taking maybe a day at the beach or something. I always like to go after all the crowds have gone, right? Like everybody's thinking about back to school. That's when I go to the beach. And my favorite time is always like mid-afternoon when everybody's going to take showers and stuff. That's when you go on the beach because the sun is lower. It's nice. So I figured my life is the same way. When I was starting out, everything seemed overwhelming and too bright and too much. And as I go along, it gets like a little more mellow, a little easier. Things, just pleasant. Just like the beach at 4 in August. Just like there can be a melancholy to it. Like we're going back to school and what. But in July, I don't feel like going on vacation. I feel like working, So I know myself. I can't do anything. I can't relax. So why go on a vacation when I'm not going to be able to relax? I like active vacations, where I'm kayaking or I'm running or I'm hiking up a mountain. I gotta have adventures. I can't just go sit on a beach somewhere and consume things. It's not me. I gotta go on back of a motorcycle somewhere. I have to have adventures. I have to have something to talk about when I get home. Doesn't matter really what I do as long as I'm discovering something new, going somewhere I've never been before. So that leads me to, oh, where was I? Oh yeah, Hope Amos, famous Amos, isn't that cookies? Um, yeah, I think I talked about this guy. You'd think that I would have a Journey song this week, right? But no, yeah, it all fits together. I was on my Facebook page. I got my website back up. I spent half the week. I have new confidence in my own abilities. Something weird happened with my website, and it was out of commission. So I dropped everything else, and in typical Gen X fashion, I said, okay, let's hack this thing. And you know, and you don't know whether to believe people anymore. People who are supposed to be knowledgeable, like in technical, jobs, even in different professions, right? I used to have, sort of faith in these people. I don't anymore. I'm like, now I have faith in myself because I realize, whether I have a lot of skills, you know, and when it comes to, taking care of myself out in the world, you know, I, I'm getting to the point where I got a pretty good toolbox, right? Um, yeah, and this is Gen X. A lot of us are like this. You know, you don't realize how many things you know until you encounter people out in the world who don't know that at least that. I used to feel intimidated. I used to trust more, right? Oh, this person says they're a blah, blah, blah. Dr. Ruth Westheimer. God bless her. 96, she passed away this week. Dr. Ruth. A very unlikely little, surprising little lady. When she opened her mouth, man, you never knew what was going to come out. But she was all over the place. I was young. I mean, in the 80s, I was barely a teenager. And I probably shouldn't have been listening to a lot of the stuff she was saying. But, I was 21 in 86. So, but, you know, our parents didn't talk to us about those things. And a lot, you're embarrassed to take. So I did a lot of reading. There was Cosmo, 17 magazine, and then Cosmo in my 20s. You know, um, I would just sort of skulk around and read things wherever I could. We didn't have the internet then, folks. So if you want to learn, read stuff. You have to read things, or you have to, trial and error, right? And then Dr. Ruth, and and this is not the most okay, kids. You're with your parents, or your mother. Dr. Ruth comes on, right? You're in the car, or there was this other one, Dr. Laura Schlesinger, and she used to talk about more like relationship kind of. She was more of a, I don't know, like a. She didn't talk about the nitty gritty nuts and bolts like Dr. Ruth. Uh, she wasn't as funny either. I did go see Dr. Laura with a couple of friends at the Bushnell in Hartford in the 90s, I think. She was good. But Dr. Ruth, there's no mistaking that voice. I could pick that voice out anywhere. Oh man, what a voice! And and then Richard Simmons, what a character, another character. I mean, with the striped shorts and the sweating to the oldies. What a loving soul. Just wanted to please people. Wanted everybody to have a good time and get fit. Um, and then of course, let's see, Shelley Duvall, who was Olive Oil, Popeye. She passed this week. And in The Shining, she was in The Shining, which, wow, what a role that was when she's holding the baseball bat and Jack Nicholson's coming at her. It was very believable. It was very real. I mean, she went through it in that role. Oh my goodness. So I've been doing a lot of research about all these celebrities. Uh, it's been quite a time. And then today I found out, Shannon Doherty from 90210 and other shows, past. So I did a lot of writing about that on my Facebook page. But yeah, it's been a time. It's been a time. So today I want to talk about the bring in the readings a little bit and the song of the week as I usually do. But talking about vacations and traveling is perfect because my oldest son is taking off for England and the Netherlands with his girlfriend this week. So they're going to be gone for 10 days going to Europe. So I hope they have a good, safe trip and wonderful vacation. And what else? Oh, I guess I covered most of the news. I bought myself a bookcase. It's awesome. And it's got like bins on the bottom. It's like white. It's got an unusual, maybe I'll post a picture of it, unusual kind of, it's got two things pointed like this and like cubes all the way down, like boxes. I thought I could put some of my stuff in there. My astrology books, my Harriet the Spy books, and my Zazoo. I have a whole thing, a Zazoo shelf, for all my Zazoo books. The one and then the ones I'm going to write. I have a little space right there. Yeah. So, I'm going to have fun putting some of my knickknacks, my childhood knickknacks up there. Maybe I can do my report over there with that in the background. So there's that. And, I got myself like a little tray table thing. It twirls around and, you can put snacks on, watch TV and stuff like that. Let me see if I hope my microphone works. So here we have, okay. So, Ephesians. To sum up, there's a summing up energy. Paul to the Ephesians says, to sum up all things in Christ, in heaven and on earth, we are called to have hope, to enlighten the eyes of our hearts to our call. So that's like our third eye, right? So we're being called to be more intuitive, right? To see with our inner eye, right? The eye of our hearts. That means, where Christ really lives is in our hearts, right? We all have this. We have the ability to go into our hearts, right? And surround ourselves with that energy. And that's what Christ is, the Christ energy. I think it's what they're talking about. So you have this journey. You have this journey within, and then you have this journey. Here's me, right, hanging out, saying, "What do I know?" Right? I've been on YouTube for 4 years. I have 11 followers, right? And it's like God saying, the more you try to hang back, God, I'm like, what do I know? God's like, get out there. This Amos guy, right? He was a shepherd, but he was a visionary. He had visions, but he didn't think he was anything special. He's like, who am I? Who's going to believe me? He was he dressed sycamore trees, dresser of sycamores. I don't know. Maybe he was like a landscaper, like the guys who come and, cut the lawn and stuff like that. But he said, the Lord took me from following the flock and said, go prophesy aside to my people. He's like, he got out of the king's sanctuary, right? He was called to lead his people, right? So this guy, Amos, he wasn't too comfortable with that because he's like, what, you want me to rat on my people? You want me to go preach and tell them what to do, and judge them, basically, what he was saying. he was lashing out. Amos, the prophet in the Old Testament, he was lashing out at the rich for abusing the poor, for not giving, for not, um, for being greedy, right? Not sharing with the poor. Um, he didn't want to go and judge people. He didn't want to be in that position. But God put him in that position. He said, you go call them out, this is wrong, right? Somebody had to do it, apparently. So it was Amos. Uh, so, so this is all tied with the song of the week for me. So there's another journey. Mark chapter 6. Jesus said he's got his friends, right? His disciples. And he's like, okay, you're going to go out 2 by 2. Like on the ark, 2 by 2. You pack light, guys. Don't bring, you go on vacation, right? And you always bring too much because your mom always told you. You always bring that. I always bring like way too much stuff for all different kinds of weather because sometimes you don't know if you're going up to Maine in July. Late July, you could get chilly nights. You got to bring a sweatshirt. You got to bring a bathing suit, shorts, long pants, lots of underwear. Pretty soon the car is full, and God knows if you have kids or if you have like girls especially. But with us, it was we'd go with the kids like third week in July, and there would be they're Boy Scouts, so we'd have the car would be crammed to the rafters with uh, boats and not boats, but camping gear, and even if we were staying in the house, there were all guys would always bring a ton of stuff. Or when they went to scouting camp, that was even worse than the family vacation. The scouting camp, oh, all the gear. It would be in my living room the week before, like first second week in July they go, and my living room would be taken over. It would look like a campsite. There would be tent poles and tents and all kinds of mosquito netting and big trunks with bug spray and all kinds of crap. And then all like both of them would go when they got to be close, and both in high school, middle school, high school, they were both going. Now they go out to Ashford, Connecticut. There's a camp out there, and that's where our troop would go. Some of the troops went to Rhode Island, and they had their different places. But this was just a few minutes from me here down in. And they go in the woods, all guys. This was before they let girls in, It would just be the guys out in the woods with the, one or two of the younger ones would call their parents, come pick me up. I don't want to be here. Not my kids. They were good. They stayed. Of course, my husband would go. He'd go. We'd both bring them up, and we'd drop them off. And then at the end of the week, there'd be a little family barbecue, which was nice, But over the course of the week, as the boys were growing up, each summer they'd get a little more confident, especially the older one. For the younger one, being there with his brother, it made it easy, right? But for the older one, I'm sure there were, he was there with his friends. He wasn't too bad. But, the first couple of times he went, my husband kind of checked in on him. He'd go up after work one night just to have dinner with him, check on how. He wouldn't make a big deal about it, but, he'd say he was there for the troop to help the other leaders. But, help our oldest son to know, yeah, we've got your back. It's okay. And then they could start bringing less and less stuff as if they got more experienced, right? They could have more faith in their ability to know, okay, well, we didn't need this, last time. So then they can just kind of wing it, right? So this is like the apostles. I didn't think I would talk about this Boy Scout thing, but it kind of fits, right? Yeah, Jesus said, pack light. In other words, have faith, right? And trust that God's going to take care of you, right? They're going out, they're talking to people, they're curing people, right? They're spreading this energy throughout, right? He said, don't take any food, don't take any money. Can you imagine? Don't take that extra tunic. It weighs you down, right? So this is us in life, but it's all metaphor. Um, it's a metaphor for you know, letting go of those things in life, those attitudes that you don't need anymore. That stuff that doesn't serve you, you know, because where you're going, you don't need it. Where you're going, um, you know, as you reach a certain level of consciousness, of awareness, you realize that God's going to, that what you need um, will be, will come to you, you know. Not like it's going to be like a genie in the bottle or like some, like in Snow White, two little bluebirds are going to come down, you know. But I've always loved this passage where Jesus said, if somebody doesn't welcome you, shake the dust of their town from your feet, and go on to where you are accepted. And that is so great because think about it. It's like you're on social media today, right? And someone doesn't agree with what you're saying. What Jesus is saying metaphorically is that doesn't, if somebody is hating on you, somebody is criticizing the good work that you're doing, my fellow creators are out there, Gen Xers, they're putting things out. If somebody doesn't welcome you, shake their dust from your feet. In other words, don't give them any more of your energy talking about how it doesn't bother you or even coming up with, snarky responses. They're not worth it. They're not worth your energy. Better to go on to the next town and for the benefit of all the people who do agree with you and do love you and do agree with, what you're doing. Those people are worth your time. Those people will support you on your way, right? These are the people who welcomed the apostles into their homes, who gave them food, right? Spiritual food. In other words, those people who come on when you post something and they say, wow, we really appreciate what you're doing. Uh, we love you. Not that they agree with everything that you say, but they're not putting you down. In other words, they're open, right? Open heart to what you have to offer, to your vision, to your view of the world, right? Because something within them feels better after, for your having been there, for your having said whatever you said. They like your energy. It doesn't even matter what you're doing or saying, right? You have an aura that people like. Even if you're just putting on clothes that you got at the thrift store, you know, rock on. If you're meeting people, you're on vacation, whatever. Do your thing. That makes people happy. Me sitting on my in my living room, talking to my book poster, and I have to say, I surprised myself this week. My website crashed, and then it turned out to be one of the plugins that had something in it, um, and that was giving me this error message whenever I couldn't even get on my WordPress site or anything. So I learned a lot, because I was unable to get on and do things that I took it for granted. My website was just going to be there. Now I appreciate it more. So please go on, visit me at zazooplazz.com. Everything's working. You can buy my book. You can read all about me, and everything's on there. So you can get everywhere in Zazoo Plazz land from my website. Pass it on. Yeah. So, I gotta get to the song of the week. It's getting late. All right, but I had to prepare it. So the song of the week this band called Kansas. July of 77, they wrote a song called Dust in the Wind. And I was almost 12. I was 11. Just a drop of water in endless sea is what we are. Just dust in the wind. It's like me growing up Catholic. Every Lent you go and you get dust, you come from dust, and to dust you shall return, with a big smudge on your forehead. You had to walk around all day with like this. It was basically they would burn the palm fronds, the palm branches from Palm Sunday, and they would make this paste. It was all black. They put it on you. It was like going to a funeral. It was very dark and very, and that's what good Catholics still do. Maybe, I don't know. I decided that I wasn't going to be that, in that mindset anymore. So I changed a few things. But some people still are, and that works for them, and that's fine. That's where I come from. I come from that. There's a lot of dust. Jesus was always, I envision him walking around with his sandals, and there's dust. It's just very dusty, blowing in the wind. So, and then, there was that song Blowing in the Wind from when I was a kid. I used to play it at church. The answer is blowing in the wind. In the 70s, I guess around early 70s, that folk singing was popular. So all these, hippie types would be playing their guitars. The boomers playing their guitars at church, singing Blowing in the Wind. So that's what I grew up going to church, Saturday nights, with the folk singing. But anyway, this was released on their 77 album, Point of No Return, KNOW. It got to number 6 on the Billboard chart, the top 100, April of 78. And it's, carrying on that message. Your money, it's not going to buy, not another minute will it buy. I found some of this, look at this old Canadian money. And from when I went to Quebec in 1986, some old like Spanish coins. See, look at that. Spanish coins. I don't know if you can see. I'm going to hold it up to the camera. These are pesetas and different coins. I tried to cash them in at a pawn shop, and they said they wouldn't take them. They're essentially worth nothing. So, but I keep them because they're, they remind me of my trip to Spain in '85 in college. And we used those. We made phone calls from phone booths with those. So they were worth something on that trip, but now they're worthless. You see what I mean? That's the same thing they're talking about in the song, right? Don't focus your attention on what's the kings, the kings of this earth, the mad, those things that weigh you down, right? Focus your attention on the higher things that are going to pay dividends, like Shannon Doherty was doing, right? She was focusing her attention on leaving a legacy of helping women, so she was totally honest with where she was coming from, and that is why she is at peace. And so with that, they're going to cut me off. So wish you safe travels and have a wonderful week. And I will see you next week. Zazoo Plazz, signing out. Take care.